What if it is 30 minutes in an executive meeting with yourself? In today's episode of Profit with a Plan, we're talking about how high performance decision making, the philosophy behind business leadership, and how the subconscious mind can quietly run the show if you don't pause long enough to notice it. You'll learn why business owners often spin circles when making important decisions and how different parts of your mind influence marketing, leadership, and growth, and a simple framework for how to make clearer, more grounded choices. Because your better decisions don't come from you pushing harder, sometimes they come from just getting quiet enough to know who is actually in charge. Hey, entrepreneurs, are you working too hard for too little profit? Well, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast, where we help business owners grow smarter, increase profitability, and build a company that is worth more, whether you plan to keep it or sell it. I'm Marcia Riner, business growth strategist and the profit booster behind Infinite Profit. Each week, I bring you practical strategies, expert insights, and real-world steps to help you grow revenue, improve margin, and build a stronger business. Today's episode is sponsored by Infinite Profit, where strategy turns into profitable growth. And before we jump in, I do have something special for you. If your revenue has plateaued or your marketing may not be producing the return it should, go get your free Profit Booster Growth Map. In just a couple of minutes, it'll help you identify where to bring in more qualified clients and where those profit leaks may be costing you money. Go get yours at the end of the show at profitbooster.biz. And there's no sales call required. Now let's get into today's conversation. My guest today is Eugene Berezin, and he brings a rare blend of mental health expertise, technology expertise, and the practical business insights into this conversation. With more than 10 years in mental health and another decade in tech, Eugene has helped private practice therapists and expert-based business clarify their messaging and build businesses that feel more aligned, focused, and sustainable. He also runs a private hypnotherapy practice, which gives him a unique lens on the subconscious patterns that influence how business owners make decisions, lead their teams, market their work, and sometimes get stuck in circles. Eugene, welcome to Profit with a Plan podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is an interesting conversation. So many business owners just keep pushing harder. They keep trying to one more phone call, one more meeting, one more something or other, but then they don't ever quiet down to really kind of figure out, is that the path? Is that the direction? And what's getting in my way? So this is cool. I'm excited to have you on. So question for you. How'd you get into this space in hypnotherapy? Come on.
Yeah, so it kind of came with my one of my professional paths. By training, I'm a psychotherapist. I went to school to get my degree in clinical psychology. I worked as a therapist. And initially, it actually came from my personal therapist. She mentioned, like, Eugene, you know, I think you would be really good at hypnotherapy. And like we did like really deep work, and it wasn't like professional consultation. It was more so like a feedback. Like, you have very magnetic and hypnotic personality, and you can utilize it as a tool. So later on, I started investing into it, like looking into it. And like really, as therapists, we always do our best to have the best tools for different variations, different situations. And hypnotherapy is not all be all, but like when everything fails, sometimes it is the tool for the job.
Hmm. That's amazing. And we're not talking hypnotherapy about making you do the chicken dance on stage. We're
No.
talking about we're talking about really getting deep into what your thoughts are and your motivations and why you're doing things. So I've experienced it before myself, and it's very interesting. And very cool, the to have it in your tool belt. And I love the way that you said that there's so many different things that we can use to help our clients and our customers. We in business, there's so many things that we can use to help our customers the same way. So I'm glad you layered that in there. All right. So talking about psychotherapy and hypnotherapy and just the idea that business owners don't realize what they don't know. How do you present that to a client to help them?
So I think like the first thing is really pr- bringing to the conscious awareness that one of the things that is very underrated is actually slowing down and like thinking as not just like I'm thinking while I'm driving or I'm thinking while I'm in the shower, but actually dedicated time where you have nothing to do but think.
Mm.
And that can also be very therapeutic. And this state that we call trance is actually very natural and actually very creative. And with clients, often it is a way to start journey into inner world, right? When the mind gets really busy, when it gets really noisy, just getting more relaxed, more open to like your own patterns. And
Mm.
that can be a beautiful journey. And of course, it is not for everyone, right? A person should be agreeable to it. Like
Of
you
course.
can't like in any other form of like mindfulness, meditation, therapy, you can just hypnotize somebody against their will. And it has to be a like valid choice. Like, okay, let me just dedicate the time to go inside of myself, inside of my psyche, inside of my mind. And then clients can do it by themselves. They can often they enjoy going on the maybe road trip, maybe by the ocean. I live in Seattle. I always go by the Puget Sound, and it's so beautiful to have just
Mm.
this quiet moment to yourself. And you can come out with a very creative business plan, and then after that, all you need to do is just like execute it step by step.
That's amazing. It's funny when you were talking about it, I was going, this isn't crazy stuff or woo-woo stuff. This is stuff runners get into a trance when they're running, right? How else do you keep pounding for miles and miles?
Hmm.
Yoga, you get into a trance when you're practicing your yoga. Meditation is so popular, whether you're using music or spoken words or just the a tapping sound or some sort of rhythm to help you get into this. These are very this is very popular work, but we as business owners don't think it's essential for what we do. And I think we just continue to think that if we keep trying to pound that square peg into the round hole, it's going to fit eventually, or we can step back and find the answer by just taking a little bit of time and potentially breathing, right? And going to a quiet place and really trying to work it out. I think this is a fantastic tool. All right. So now that we've laid the groundwork of what it is and why it's important to have this in your business practice, how does one start to do it themselves?
It's a wonderful question. So like one thing that I like to present to people that as entrepreneurs, like the least thing that we want to add to our calendar is another thing to do necessarily. So I
Right.
like to present it in a way that, um, first of all, it's willingness to dedicate time to yourself. And it's 30 minutes where you are uninterrupted, like no phone, no email, no social media, no uh, sometimes even no music. The best environment would be in a nature if you can. It's
Mm-hmm.
very therapeutic and it's very It's very good for your brain, and there are a lot of research on that. And that like just walking in the nature and being in the nature and being exposed to natural nature sound is very, very good for your brain. And then you just have executive meeting with yourself, and then you start
Right.
noticing different thoughts, different patterns, and then you start having conversation with yourself. You start questioning yourself, not in the terms of self-doubt. For example, oh, my next project is not going to work out. For example, when I was pivoting to business coaching from career coaching, I was thinking like, well, like can it work out really well? And something really magical happened. And when I say magical, it's like self-conscious, unconscious processes. Um, I was start thinking about the client that I was working privately. We did not advertise it. We did not come to my podcast or social media. And then I had a thought like, well, like he does X, Y, and Z in his progress. And if we're doing everything right, in about a month or so, he will have breakthrough if he follows the path, and he does. And if and when he does, that will be the evidence for you that you can actually start talking about it publicly. And if he doesn't, then probably you need to improve your processes. And it was so peaceful, and it was so like serene. I did not have any resistance. And then probably a couple of weeks after, we had a call, and he said, you know what? I do have a customer. It worked out really well. There are a few things that I need to tie up with, like pricing and being confident with my prices, with my sales calls. But I do have progress. I do have breakthrough. So this is working. And that was exactly the evidence that I actually had in my executive meeting. And that's just simple stuff like that. And I think it is really underrated activity for a lot of business owners, no matter what kind of business you run, because like just being with yourself in thinking without being busy, because being busy, being in the meeting, creating content, creating marketing feels productive and it feels safe. But being with yourself, it seems like you're doing nothing, but you actually building your business in those quiet moments.
I love that. And congratulations on the success. And I'm glad your inner self told you it was okay to go forward with it, because this is truly a really helpful um, balance to the hustle and bustle of business, that to be able to sit, and I love that you call it an executive meeting with yourself, because that's exactly what it is. It's sitting somewhere quietly. And in the time of being able to, hypertask, not just multitask, hypertask, we never really get that time to just sit. One of my favorite things to do, especially living in Vegas now where there's not much of it, is to go take my shoes off and put my feet in the grass, right? And kind of ground myself and grab nature, because nature here is quite harsh. And I'm not like that at all. I'm a water person like you. So then, finding just a few minutes, and sometimes I'm hypertasking and walking my dog, but just to sit there and go, okay, and yeah, and just grab hold of whatever I'm thinking of and just let it happen. I think it's just such a missed tool that I'm glad we're having this conversation, because it needs to get out there. All right.
Yeah.
So when you're having these conversations with yourself, and you mentioned don't be negative, right? Be positive. But are we just kind of letting it flow and what comes into mind, or are we going through some specific exercises or questions in that we're asking ourselves?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because we definitely go with intention,
Okay.
and it's really important to bring your true self. And this is the terminology from Internal Family System (IFS). It's when we focus, and it's a little bit more than just like, oh, just be positive. is where you really aware of your feelings. So let's say you start conversation or thought process with yourself and something comes up. Let's say a doubt or let's say something negative. But then you can check with yourself because that can be a part of your mind because we have multiplicity of mind. We have different parts. And you check in with yourself. How do I feel towards that feeling, towards that thought? And if it is anything but acceptance, calm, creativity, you ask that feeling or that thought simply to step back and relax and say, hey, I got this. I can deal with this. And then address that doubt. For example, with my big decision, right? I ask my doubts like, hey, like, can you be quiet for a second? Because I think there's an opportunity and I got this. And then you just witness that thought, that part. And sometimes our thoughts, ideas, and it's not only negative, it's positive too. Sometimes our internal parts want to be witnessed, and there's so much power in witnessing your feelings, your ideas, your creativity, your doubts that you can turn your doubt, your, I don't know, like your spiral, your internal conflict into something positive because
Mm.
there's under every negative emotion, under every doubt, there is so much light and so much energy and so much like positive intent that we and the interesting part is that we know that our mind is so complex and is so smart that when we're quiet, it's not just a woo woo, like something like brings you ideas, even though like the research has said that our brain is actually an antenna versus just we're generating thoughts. But in those quiet moments, we actually are able to uncover that light that sits beyond a doubt or an idea or something that was spinning in our mind. And sometimes like good parts, right? Like the idea that you're thinking about your business and you might be thinking like, well, this is just crazy talk. I can do like, I don't know, let's just say I can buy another franchise. Like that would be just crazy. But that franchise, for example, can bring you another like 500K or maybe get you to that $1 million that you're striving for. And with your resources that you have right now, you don't see what you can see. And like again, going back to the example, if I was just busy with planning and with analyzing, I would not see that. I would still be in my previous trajectory, if it makes sense.
Hey, quick pause here. If you've ever wondered what your next smartest move should be to grow your business, well, I've built something for you. It's called the Profit Booster Growth Map. It takes only about 2 minutes, it's totally free, and it shows you exactly where you're leaving money on the table and what to fix first. Go grab it for free at profitbooster.biz/growth map. Then come right back to the episode. Wow, that's really interesting. And the thing that got me was that oftentimes our mind wants to keep us safe. And being a business owner requires risk, right? So the mind is going, or our one part of our mind, I guess, to use your example, is telling us, be safe, be safe, be safe. Don't take those risks. Oh my gosh, or even worse, oh, how are you ever? They're not going to buy that product from you. They're not going to buy that service from you. Oh, you need to lower the price rather than, our brain tells us weird things, right? That are
Mhm.
always going on in our head. And if we can, like you said, if we can say, take a break. Let me see if there's a positive way out of this, right? Let's see if there's, let's think this through a little bit more. Let's sit with this idea, see if it works out. It's kind of giving your brain permission going, I got that, right? Thank you for protecting me, but right? but let's try it. I think it'll work. I think that's what we all need is that self-talk that is good for us. And yeah,
Yeah.
we need it to protect us, but to be good for us too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think on top of that, right, journaling is very, very, like, very positive because,
Well, what if you
and
can't read your journaling? My handwriting has gotten so bad over the years because I type all the time. But
oh,
yes, I
you don't
get it.
have to read it, you have to
I'm
write
just,
it.
you just got to put it down.
Yeah, you and this is so much power into like getting your head your thoughts out of your head on paper. I
Yes.
never write my journals, by the way. Like, and the same thing, I probably won't be able to read it because I it's very much automatic writing. And the same thing, like I start talking to my parts, and sometimes when you just thinking, you drift, right? You drift into
Mm.
something else, you start spiraling, especially if you're in the thick of it. But when you're writing, just this like hand mind connection, it doesn't let you really spiral that far, and or you can catch it and you can respond in writing, and then you communicating in writing with yourself, and it's very much contextualized. And then at the end of the journaling, sometimes I have like a mini business plan. Like, okay, the action is X, Y, and Z. And then that plan, like, yes, I make sure that I write it accurately so I can actually type it out like later. So that can be powerful too.
Yeah, that takes me back to school, right? They teach you in school to take notes so that you're cementing the thought in your head and you're able to work it through that way. Journaling makes perfect sense to be able to take that time and really just kind of write it out and get those thoughts out that are maybe just, cluttering up, right? That are blocking you from the success that you can do. And I think that's a really, really important piece too, to just get it out, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so with this kind of activity, how often should we be having these executive meetings with ourselves?
And that's another really good question.
Oh, I'm so
And
glad I'm doing that today.
yeah. I think there are well, there's no like a limit, right? You can have executive meetings like every day, but also I have to warn our audience that it's really important to use that time as a productive time. Like, let's say once a week probably is a good, well, is a good thing as an exercise. But
Sure.
what you don't want to do, you don't want to use it as a cap out when, like, you are using it as a way to spiral. Because if
Mm.
you like using this like executive meetings and nothing comes out from those executive meetings, or you're leaving those executive meetings in the worst state that you entered, then it's
Um,
probably a signal to do something differently, like to like
sure.
either work with your business coach, work with your mindset coach, work with your therapist, like, or like really or adjusting your executive meetings, because if it's not working and if it is not productive, it's time to do something differently. Or maybe it is time to actually do like complete shutdown quiet time when you're not, and then I know it's really hard, but when you're not thinking, when you're just observing, because sometimes our mind will use the most positive thing that we can use for ourselves as a cap out to spiral or to like just drown in negative thoughts. Like I do my
Mm.
executive meetings like every morning before I start my day, and I keep it up to 20 minutes, because in
Got it.
20 minutes I should be good. And regardless like if I have like conclusion out of it or not, it doesn't matter. It's just time for myself, and whatever I couldn't like come out with or solve, this is the time for another morning. This is the time for tomorrow. So with that, I keep myself in a time box, and also if I'm noticing that it's not very productive, then I switch to different activities or I'm seeking just advice from a professional. Sometimes I need to consultation with financial advisor, with a coach, or with my therapist too. So because like we need other humans to grow too.
Exactly. Well, that's a perfect example of the meeting, right? The meeting that you have oftentimes in business and in corporate life, where you're just having meetings to have meetings and nothing ever comes out of them, and you're like drowning in there, going, "Wow, I've got a list of things that need to be done, but I need to sit here in this stupid meeting. Nothing's getting done." Right? So we can, like you said, go into those in our own personal meetings too. But keeping them positive and productive is really important. I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe if I did something on Monday morning, right? Monday's always the hustle and bustle. If I just sat with myself for a few days, like I'm thinking, here's how I would go approach it if I don't have a problem I'm working through, is what are those three things that I need to accomplish this week? Or what are those three things I need to accomplish today? And how can I do them better? And, I mean, so I think there's many directions that we can take these meetings so that they are productive and not, like you said, not just a spiral going down. So this is so good. This is so good and so unexpected from a podcast that talks about we're going to go get you action and results and direction. This is a softer approach to it, but it's still giving you the actions, results, and direction that you need. So
Yeah.
love this.
And
All right.
especially
So,
for folks with ADHD too,
oh,
right? Like that's like it's so important. And because I have ADHD, my practical advice when I find myself spiraling and I just don't know what to do, I need to do content, I need to do podcasts. I have a meeting with a client and I have consulting project like piling up. So what I do, I do my executive meeting and I write 3 to 4 action items that I must do, and they're small action items. And I
mm,
literally cross them out as I get it done because this is the easiest way to reinforce your ADHD brain that you're not lazy, you're not behind, and you actually take your executive function one step at a time. And I keep it up to 4 because when it's like 5, 6, 10, it can be overwhelming and we feel like a
yeah, way
failure
too
and we're a
much,
loser.
right?
Yeah, like 3 to 4, boom, and you feel already, you feel better already.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it all takes that second of going, wait a minute, I need time, right? Because we've got people knocking on the door, we've got phone calls, we've got emails, we've got text messages, we've got to-do lists and all these things. Just taking that few minutes to slow down and work through it with yourself. Think of the productivity that we would have, the better productivity that we would have if we did this, right? Rather than just going, all right, what's the next thing on my list? Let's keep going, keep going, keep going, which is very common for business owners, right? We're that abusive to ourselves, but taking this time for ourselves so we can be a better business person, right? Ah,
Yeah.
so beautiful. So beautiful. All right, so when we're doing this, so when we have outcomes, right? Sometimes our minds, I too have some ADHD in me, and my mind will start doing all these different things in here. How do we kind of bring it in? You mentioned 3 or 4 things, but that's in theory, right? But when the mind starts spiraling, how do we bring it back in?
So when the mind starts spiraling, one, the first thing is actually observe the spiral, like just
Mm,
being aware of the spiral, right? Because we often have this automatic resistance, like, oh, I'm spiraling, I should be positive, like, oh, this is way too much. But again, like that might be a part of your mind or a part of yourself that is spiraling. Just simply witnessing it and like, hey,
mm,
you're spiraling. I see you spiraling, and that's okay. What you need, and you start receiving feedback. And for me
mm,
personally, like as a person with ADHD, is normally Well, I'm incredibly unproductive after creating like, I don't know, like 3 podcast episodes, working with a client, closing a deal, and like, I don't know, starting another like credentialing process, right? I think I'm unproductive, right? I collect the evidence that I am productive for now. Like, well, like if I look at my list that I have done, and my mind, I'm like, okay, if I don't have immediate money in my bank account, this is not productive. And then I
Right.
just simply like breaking down, like, okay, but like you have consulting project, your consulting client pays you on Friday. Like you can't just call them and say, "Hey, I've done the work. Pay me money right now." Like you have your payday. So you need to slow it down. You have a new practice, and the new practice is a new business, and you know better than anyone else that it takes time. So what have you done to like see the big
Move
picture
that
6 months
forward.
from now? Like you've done your content, you've done 3 episodes already. So that's productive. And then like, okay, what else do I have absolutely have to do? Otherwise, my business will not succeed in the long run.
Mm.
Oh, like I need to do this sales call with another client or a consultation call with another client. Like, okay, go do that. Everything else can literally go. And this is how I stop my spiral.
That's amazing because we do. We punish ourselves been and chasing things and we've got more to do and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of recognizing that it's our nature or our body telling us or our brain telling us do when sometimes it's like I just did all this stuff. I'm good today. It's okay. I can go outside and put my feet in the grass, or I can, go do the thing that I wanted to do. And that's the balance that we often miss as well. So thanks for that. Because this is a really, valuable tool, but as you just explained, it can probably get out of hand very easily. So this is good. All right, Eugene, I know we can, this is such a fun topic and I think we can keep going on it and keep asking questions and show me how you do it and all these kind of things, but we're running up to the end of the show. So I would love to let listeners know where they can find out more about you and doing this executive meeting with ourselves.
Yeah. So you can find me on social media, Eugene Berezin. You can find, I have really big platform on LinkedIn. I am Eugene. I am, it's Heart and Profit podcast on YouTube and all social media platforms. I do have self-regulation tool as well. It is on LifePath tc.com/self-regulation, self-regulation, LifePath TC, LifePath Transformational Coaching. This is my original name of my company. And this is hypnosis recordings that can actually help you to get into that state. I have version with binaural beats and without binaural beats because I know not everybody is a fan of it. And,
I
like
like
if you
those.
like it, you can use it. If you don't like it, you can just use voice recordings. And yeah, and also on Instagram, Eugene.Berezin, like feel free to follow me, send me a message, say hi, share with me what resonated with you from the episode.
I love it. I love it. Well, all of those links will be in the podcast notes. So if you didn't get a chance to write them down, look in the podcast notes because they'll all be there for you. And definitely go get those tools that Eugene's offering so that way you can get into this space because this may be something new for you in your business. And so learning how to do it and how to get into that state of calm and being able to have that conversation with you might require some assistance in the beginning. So definitely check out Eugene's stuff. So. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you're walking away with a couple of practical ideas that you can put to work right now in your business to grow it and be more profitable and have a more valuable business. And I know this time for ourselves to kind of work through things and make us stronger since everybody else depends on us. This is super valuable for you. All
Thank
right, and
you.
before you go, if you want to have a clearer path to more revenue and stronger profit, go grab your free Profit Booster Growth Map. You can go get that right after the show, and it'll quickly show you how to it shows you the top opportunities to grow your revenue and stop the profit leaks that may be holding your business back. You can get that anytime at profitbooster.biz. And if this episode gave you value, be sure to subscribe and share it with another business owner who needs to hear it. I'll see you next week with more profitable strategies and to help you grow smarter and profit stronger. So until then, make those plans and profit with them. Eugene, thank you so very much for teaching us this.
Thank you.